Okay, see if there's any other things to take care of. Finalization of the H3 highway contract. Yeah, let's do that. After driving through the cliffside roads, we arrived in Linkburg. There, cheerful citizens greeted us and local government's officials escorted us to the city hall. Taking bribes tend to help the economy. Oh, definitely, right? Bribes always help economies. I mean, to be fair, I don't know what I assume my personal wealth would have gone up, but could I have then translated that into more budget? I don't know, right? Would have been interesting, though. Local government officials escorted us to the city hall. Here, a significant meeting about the H3 project would take place. Several construction companies sent their representatives to the city hall. Even though Gus Manger couldn't make the meeting, I had Simon Hall and Lilius Graff by my side. Besides starting our economic recovery, the travel time by road will drop by more than half, Mr. President. This project will improve the England region. I have lived with these people and seen them suffer. I mean, I hope so, Lilius. The aim to economically strengthen this weak region will be partially accomplished. According to my estimates, this project will cost about 50,000 citizens, or will give about 50,000 citizens from England employment. That's really good. In the short term, yeah. What will it take to stop the recession? I am curious. This is just the beginning. We will need to follow this project up with several other economic investment projects. That depends on the government budget. We need to make sure we have enough money to fund critical ministries, but still have money left for investments. Yes. Simon searched the documents he was holding and found the one he was looking for. I have the overview of the companies here. Simon handed the files over to me. Yeah, let's look at the files. I looked at the files. 3 corporations are listed. Swedish State Corporation, Underhall Construction, and Taurus Holding. So let's see what all these are. So it's the main government corporation that is tasked with running public constructions contracts in Swordland. It is also a part of the Big Four, the 4 largest companies in Swordland. Most usually also called the SSC. It is the most honorable company in the country with a long and solid track record of accomplishing critical projects. In the recent years, the efficiency of the corporation seems to have dropped due to the recession, and then somehow corrupt management structure. It is still considered the safest bet for big projects in the minds of many government officials. So they're not bad to go for. Underhall seems good, but violate workers' rights, that doesn't seem good to me, and they tried to bribe me, right? And I don't think that's too great. I don't think that's a good sign. Because that's saying, hey, you know, there's a chance you might not choose us because we're terrible. So let's give you money so you do pick us. Funnily enough, that bribe may have actually cost him. And Taurus Holding. Founded in 1946 by Gerald Weiss. Taurus Holding is a new and entrepreneurial private company that uses cutting-edge construction technology from Arcacia to reduce construction costs and prices. They recently began taking bigger and riskier contracts in several industries, including the construction industry. Taurus also deals with shipyard building, bridge works, probably works for us, honestly, and training aircraft hangars. The company is known for its great employee perks, and high unionship membership. It is considered much more open and competitive compared to the usual Swedish corporations. They are known for their port expansion project in Benfey, which was completed with half the budget. I'm leaning towards Taurus Holding, to be honest. Less budget, just as fast work done, and no mention of it being corrupt. I think this might be the company we go with. I reviewed them. I also took the liberty of asking the mayor of Arvery to give his opinion on the matter. Which corporation should we talk about? Tell me about Taurus Holding. Taurus Holding was founded in 1946 and is owned by the entrepreneur Gerald Feiss. It is a new holding company whose subsidiaries use cutting-edge technology from Arcadia to reduce construction costs and prices. They are known to provide their workers who are part of the labor union of Swordland. There are other things Taurus does very well, like providing consultants for the state corporations, but I can't vouch for their infrastructure construction at all. I mean, I think they're probably a really good company to go with, to be honest. Why shouldn't we go with Taurus? This company is completely private and directed by a non-government board. Do we even remember if they worked on a mega project at all? Lilius sighed. Choosing this company is too much of a risk for an important project like this, especially when a proven SSC exists. Yes, I do believe their capabilities matter more. Because, like, you hear fairly often about, like, companies that have no history with a big project doing it and nailing it because they have something to prove, right? They have something to prove for the future. They're not doing it just because, you know, they want to make, like, money now, typically, right? Like, they want to make money. But it's like, if they can prove themselves good, then they get more work in the future. So I think this company would have something to prove, being so new, right? I don't think they'd make any mistakes. Yeah, it kind of sucks, but, you know, making the best of a bad situation. True. Really nice option, allowing you to ask why not compared to why. Yeah, I like that, honestly. So their capabilities matter more than the history they have. We need to make unbiased decisions. Yes. They took a joint contract in Arcadia for restructuring the highway intersection of one of the major cities. It went well, but it is their only large-scale success. If we are going to try a different company, this is the most unique. The project manager from Taurus Holding mentioned that they would be able to finish the project with the allocated funding. They are the only company who found the budget sufficient, making them a cheaper alternative. They're worth considering for sure. I want to hear about the other ones, but I'm thinking Taurus. I'm really leaning towards Taurus. Taurus is definitely worth considering. Tell me about the Swordfish State Corporation. The respected Swordfish State Corporation, also known as the SSC, was founded in 1891. It is the main state corporation tasked with running the day-to-day construction services of our country. The SSC is one of our most trusted and honorable companies. They have served us a long time. I have worked with them on several occasions. But as we learned, the efficiency has dropped due to the recession, and the management is somehow corrupt. It's a safe bet, but will the corruption make it worth it? I don't really think so. That is true. It does go against our election promises of moving away from state-planned economy. That is true as well. Most importantly, the Swordfish State Corporation lacks a modern way of thinking, resulting in slower construction. We can't have that. A simple look at the regional highway shows us the problem. Has no relation to this. I feel like it has a lot of relation to this. They do have a wealth of knowledge and infrastructure. I don't agree with the negative statements for the SSC. But she's also very much against free market, right? The record clearly shows completed contracts with thousands of employees who have more than 20 years of experience. According to the preliminary calculations of the SSC, they would need more resources to finish a project of this size. Probably because they're corrupt. So this is the thing. I guess I don't lose a government budget if I go with Taurus. I don't know. Like, Taurus, I don't see an issue with Taurus, to be honest. I'm on the fence about the SSC. Underhaul construction. The real estate construction giant was founded in 1925. They expanded during the economic boom of the 30s. Picking this corporation would fit our market economy policy. The CEO of Underhall is Chris Scar, the mayor of Conriat. He sold half of his shares a few years ago. I had to work with Underhall Construction before in Wholesword. They took several contracts for the central station renovation and left much to be desired. The H3 project shouldn't be left to them. How was your experience with them? Out of all three, this is the company I trust the least. They seem to fail at respecting the contract terms of their workers, likely to cause trouble. I'm not too sure about trusting them with the contract, but at least they have worked on several mega projects and always delivered on time. Working conditions must be respected. This doesn't inspire confidence. I agree. The workers were undocumented Agnolian and Wesek immigrants with no papers. A clear violation of our laws. Okay, yeah. According to them, the reason of the bad labor conditions was because of the tight completion schedule, which still doesn't justify the situation. I agree. Underhall has specifically mentioned their solid track record and highlighted that the cost of the project would be more than expected for a project of this scale, but finished on time. I'm not sure about Underhall Construction. It was time to make a decision about which company to award the H3 highway contract to. So honestly, in a weird way, I feel like I'm kind of making a mistake by going with Taurus. If only because I don't lose a budget, right? I feel like I'm making a mistake because I don't lose a budget on them. I mean, it is true, the whole on time, under budget, done correctly, pick two thing, yeah. It is true. On time, under budget, yeah. Yeah. I'm leaning towards Taurus Holding just because now I know it's a video game, but using real world logic, it sounds like they don't have any problems. Like, it seems like they don't have issues, right? Because they recently began taking on bigger and riskier projects. They have something to prove. They use technology, like advanced technology. And they have great employee perks and high union membership. And we want to show that we are a president of the people. Especially if, you know, we have all these riots and stuff going on, right? We need to be a president of the people. So I'm thinking I've settled on Taurus Holding. I get to keep some of my budget. I'm pretty confident in Taurus. But maybe that's the trap, right? Maybe it won't be as good. I've settled on Taurus Holding. Good that we're staying consistent to our economic strategy. Simon signed a certain section of the dossier and fixed his glasses. And it seems like we made at least these guys happy. None of them had anything bad to say about Taurus either. Not really. Like, I had to ask, like, what's the negative? And the negative, we don't know because they haven't really done anything to this scale, so we don't know yet, right? Which isn't really bad. It's a risk, but I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. Very well, Mr. President. The contract will be awarded to Taurus Holding. I wish the outcome of the meeting was different, but at the end of the day, the success of the project is what matters. The company will be notified today and the construction work will begin immediately after. Because if I go with SSC, then I am going against what I promised. But if I go with Underhall, then they're probably going to do a poor job in terms of like employee rights. So I think this is really the only one I could go with. The company will be notified today and the construction work will begin immediately after. I think we're off to a good start. My expectations for a grand opening ceremony are late next year. I better get back to work then. Thank you. This concludes the meeting. The meeting ended and we spent the remainder of the day attending events in Lenkurg. It was nice to enjoy the natural beauty of England and to eat some good fish. Ah, the highway. It's making progress. Situation report. The Ministry of Defense reports that the situation along the border is getting tense. Remberg's Southern Army was sighted training close to our borders and did not respond after we issued a radio message. The Chief of the Armed Forces, General Kruger, reports to have increased patrolling duties along the northern border to signal readiness. Okay, not bad. Just seeing if there's anything else that's new. Offense is only like turn 2 as well, by the way. See, I'm almost wondering if this maybe should move to a recording game. I'm not too sure. I kind of want to keep it a stream game, though. Even though it probably fits a recording game a little bit more. I'm not too sure. I'll need to think about it. Either way, we'll keep the stream for now. Like I say, normally I do 3. And then if I think I need to move to a recording, then I will after. Which I still need to get back to Between the Stars, by the way. Local police working with nationalists. One of our agents acting as a young Swords member had an encounter with 2 members of the local police force in Anrika. Olsen Bolar and Vic Neze. According to the report, the policeman tried to bribe the agent to burn down a store that belonged to a known Communist Party member and to instigate further violence. We have detained the policeman on charges of corruption. Okay, so now this is telling us that yes, corruption is a problem. That it isn't just because so far we've only had acknowledgement that it is understaff, right? But now we're seeing the corruption, for sure. Alright, so what's this? Ah, yes, the meeting with Marcel Caronti. Maybe I should have done this first. We're headed to the meeting location set by Marcel Caronti. The motorcade was made up of the most confidential and trustworthy team. After a few hours of driving along River Eskel, we took a turn before entering Conriat. The darkness started setting in as we drove up to a hill. Where are we, Serge? It's probably Sergey, but I'm gonna say it's Serge. We are nearing the HOS Country Club, Mr. President. We'll be there shortly. We arrived and the big iron gates of the country club opened. It was huge and outright extravagant. The main building, inspired by lesbian architecture, was lit from all sides. It was rather chilly. I was approached by Peter Victorn and Lucien Lucien Galade. Yes. I hope the journey was comfortable. If anything keep me away from home, that seems rude. The location is very remote indeed. Wasn't bad. I'm looking for this meeting. I can't think of comfort when our country is descending into chaos. Is that the right way to go? Also, I see more news. Let's read more news. Construction begins for H3 Highway. Taurus Holding has been awarded a 2-year contract for an extensive infrastructure project. Subsequent design and construction work is part of the H3 Highway expansion project in Swordland. In addition to the geotechnical ground investigation, Taurus will provide the design of all civil structures, including ground retaining walls and earthworks for the highway. Taurus said it could build the line much stronger than planned and at a much lower cost, according to a letter seen by The Economist, but the USP MP, Albin Clavin, had warned letting Taurus build H3 would be extremely questionable. The USP MP, yeah, he's part of our party, yeah. The H3 project involves the widening of hundreds of kilometers of existing motorway between Lockhaven and Arvery, including an open tunnel nearly 3 kilometers long. The highway will pass from Lenkirk and Arvery and later be expanded to the Agnolian capital, Stallport. Kybner suggests expanding executive powers. The leader of the NFP, Kesaro Kybner, has suggested that the new constitution should expand executive powers, adding fuel to the debate over the possibility of reforming the 1929 constitution. He pointed out the current dire situation of Swordland and emphasized the need for strong leadership. The current constitution suggests the division of executive power between the cabinet and the president, who has no immunity before the courts for acts of treason and unconstitutional behavior during office. In the system suggested by the NFP, the president would have absolute immunity before the courts, and it is the president who would chair the cabinet. It is not clear yet whether the suggestion would spark further debate in the Reform Committee with the PFJP and the USP. The PFJP proposal had suggested that the president should have no presidential decrees, might result in the abolishment of the assembly and take the country to an early election. Despite the independents' counter-proposal to give a similar power to Parliament to take down the president. But the detail was not shared with the press in yesterday's press conference. The risky highway project. The government has announced a new mega infrastructure project to help alleviate the symptoms of the recession. When the Minister of Economy announced the launch of one of the most contested construction projects in Swordsland, a new highway from Lockhaven to the Agnolian capital, Stalport, he said, "This project will cross the poorest areas of Swordsland, developing the region, improving foreign trade, and increasing access to employment." The contract for the project was given to an inexperienced company named Taurus Holding, with the decision of the president. Mega projects, such as the construction of ports, transport lines including railways, and motorways and power plants, typically cost billions of SR. They are difficult to manage due to their scale, high levels of complexity, and substantial impact on communities. I have an itchy nose. The environment and state governments. There you go. The decision of such a vital project to be given to a company like Taurus should not have been taken so easily, as they lack the large-scale experience and the organizational capacity to complete such a big task. England has long been neglected as a region and was in need of serious investments in its infrastructure. While this is positive news, it is doubtful that this project was worth the money and the time that it will consume. It will be. It will be. Reform demands gain popularity. Okay. Demands for reform are gaining more popularity than ever. Latest public opinion reports show that the majority of the Swedish peoples want change in the government structures that were established after Tarkin Sol's military coup in 1929. The public trust in the Grand National Assembly and the Supreme Court is at an all-time low. Alright. While rumors of reform talks are coming out from the Assembly, it seems unlikely that without complete unity, none of the parties would be able to lead such a proposal. In order to change the Constitution, the proposal must collect at least 150 signatures and then reach the needed 166 votes. If the proposal passes the Assembly, it is still subject to another voting in the Supreme Court, as well as judicial review, which still stands as the biggest obstacle before the parties. Oh boy, it's the radical. Workers' Party Solidarity March. The pro-minority Workers' Party of Bludia rally in the Bludish majority city of Suzerain attracted a large audience. Oh man, some of my hair is sticking up. The gathering was heavy on flags and banners, whipping in the rain and chill wind as the gatherers declared solidarity with Bernard Circus. Among the speakers at the rally was Monsorn Lek, a Bludish member of Assembly who is standing as the leader of the independents in the Grand National Assembly. Although not a member of the WPB, he was the leading figure of the event. We will again foil this war plot that was set up by the Solist ideology, he said, in reference to the series of conflicts and bloodshed during Tarkin Sol's term as president, which claimed thousands of Bludish lives. We will come out of this tunnel of conflict. We will not only win against discrimination, we will win the truth. When we have all together foiled this trick of polarization, our songs of peace, which spread from Izam, will ring out even stronger all over Swordland. Lek added, in reference to the Izam incident of 1933, which triggered Tarkin Sol's persecution of Bludish minorities and the formation of the militant organization, Bludish Freedom Front. Bludish citizens targeted. 20 Bludish citizens were attacked by a group of people suspected to be members of Young Swords during their peaceful protest to support Bernard Circus. The group was overwhelmed and the local police forces couldn't reach the protesters to protect them, amidst the chaotic crowd. The attackers ran away without getting caught, and 11 of the victims are hospitalized with critical injuries. That's no bueno. What do I want to go with? I think number 4. I can't think of comfort when our country is descending into chaos. When you put it like that, enter the building. We enter the main building. Because we need to get into Peter's head that things aren't really right now, and we gotta work hard to make things better. After opening the marble-engraved wooden door, we were greeted by 2 tall women. The receptionist led us to the meeting room upstairs. Marcel was standing by the window, looking outside at the beautiful complex. He turned around to have a quick look at us both. He was a really handsome man with well-groomed hair. He walked towards me with his hand, reached out for a handshake. I shook his hand. He had a firm grip. It is such a pleasure to meet you in person, Mr. Caronte. I appreciate your efforts to reach out for a mutually beneficial friendship. Thanks for hosting us. I admired your father very much. May he rest in peace. Welcome. Your kind words have touched me, Vice President. He was indeed a great man. I'm gonna have a sip. A little bit of water splashed out at me somehow. That's weird. May he rest in peace. He was a true entrepreneur. He was a good man from what I remember reading in the report. He would have been very happy to hear this from you, Mr. President. It's time to look forward. Let's talk about our bright future. Yes, there's much to discuss. Believe it or not, I have been a secret admirer of your political success. I find your quick rise to power was shockingly well executed. Does the admiration go both ways? I don't really believe so. Thank you. Just a simple thank you, I think, works. Marcel gently pointed at the seats. We sat down around a gigantic table before speaking. He knocked on the wood. The past months have been tumultuous, to say the least. I am glad you and your family were unharmed at the shooting. The whole incident must have been a shock for the kids. They aren't used to that. They aren't used to what we lived through back in the late 20s. I still remember when my father took us out of the country, when it became too dangerous in Conriat. They were startled, but the important thing is they are safe and sound. Of course, that is all that matters. No family should suffer from tragedy ever again. We had enough of that. Well, I am known to be a straightforward person, so let me get to the point without wasting your valuable time. It was during the Alfonso campaign when I was struck by what you have done within the party. Marcel started to look at one of the paintings on the wall. I'm gonna look at the painting. I observed the painting. The famous piece depicted a giant sleeping beneath a village. The trees, rivers, and hills were all a part of the giant's body. Its eyes were 2 caves looking up at the people. It showed daylight at the far left and nighttime at the far right. The giant seemed to be watching the village. It was totally unbeknownst to the villagers. I clicked twice by accident. Marcel pointed his finger at me. You said we all transform this nation, Mr. Rain. My conglomerate has a way of doing things, and I don't want them to change. So I want to cooperate with you. Cooperate? You might have the people's support now, Mr. President, but what happens when you make mistakes? Everybody makes mistakes. What is that supposed to mean? Let's hear his point, Vice President. Being a president in this country means having many enemies. Enemies that would resort to anything to bring you down. Let's say these enemies caused a scandal or leaked sensitive information from the administration. These would be destructive when they were released. If they were released. See, I don't want to make him pissed by saying you're playing a dangerous game. I don't want to threaten a man this powerful. I see where you're getting at. You knew that a long time before you came here. Let's hear your offer. I want two things, Mr. President. Number one is a guarantee from you that the Rain administration won't meddle in HOS affairs no matter what happens. Number two is a simple gentleman's favor for the future. Let me prove my services to you first, and I'm sure you won't disapprove when the time comes. In HOS no matter what. See, that's the key here, no matter what. Right? Like, I don't think the company itself is bad. And I don't think Conrad Caronte is a bad guy either. Or, no, not Conrad, Marcel. Where's Marcel? Where's the one from Marcel? Yeah, Marcel, here you go. And I don't think Marcel's a bad guy either, necessarily. No matter what happens. See, okay, so the HOS is the Heart of Swordland conglomerate. So they do stuff with the media. See, like, it's not a bad company. I don't think I can do it, though. I don't think it's a good idea to say, like, I won't meddle in their affairs ever. Because what if they do something that I need to crack down on? And I always feel like it's bad news when someone's like, well, you know, it's a favor that I'll call in later, right? Like, no. That's not how things work. If you want a favor, tell me now. I'm not agreeing to it until you tell me. So I'm thinking this is far too risky for me. Great risk means great reward. This mutually beneficial cooperation will help you greatly. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, we have to know now. Like, never trust someone, like, ever. Like, this is a rule for life as well. If someone ever comes up to you and says, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll do something for you now, but in the future, I'll have to call in a favor. Like, doesn't that sound really risky? Doesn't that sound very sus, right? Don't ever trust that. It's not good. Always leads to bad stuff. I can guarantee that you will see its benefits sooner than later. We can make history together if we dare to challenge the odds. I mean, I want to ask my advisors and see what they think. You've been awfully silent, Peter. Peter leaned in my ears and whispered, I think he is getting more out of this than we are. The issue tied to his request must be so important to him that he is offering this risky deal. We need to be cautious. If we get caught or this gets out, I can't imagine... excuse me. I can't imagine the consequences. Marcel interrupted us. So, do we have a deal? Mr. Caronti, I have to reject. Such a shame, Mr. President. And here I thought we were going to be good friends. It's a shame, really. Goodbye, Mr. Caronti. Let's leave. We left the complex and entered the car. I thought that would have ended better. I mean, kind of agreed, but also you kind of push it too far, but agreed. I'm sorry. I should have seen it coming. Return to Whole Sword. We return to Whole Sword. Economic relief plan, huh? Casaro Kaibner demands emergency to be called. The leader of NFP, Casaro Kaibner, has demanded an emergency be called to address the increasing political violence in the country. He stated that without a declaration of emergency, Swordland would be destabilized and the integrity of the country would be damaged even further. So he wants me to declare a state of emergency? That's not happening. Like, no way. Now, let's talk about the economic relief plan. Okay, so what has real life taught us about business bailouts? They don't really work, right? Right? Isn't that what real life kind of taught us when America had that big financial, that business bailout thing? Did that help the economy? I don't think it really did it? A lot of the higher ups just pocketed the money, didn't they? I don't really remember. I'm pretty sure it didn't really work that well. But you give it to the people. Oh, you know what? Yeah, see, Best Awkward says, yeah, not really. Yeah, it's like, I vaguely remember that it didn't really work out. So let's think about this for a sec. We'll read this and then we'll think about this. With the assistance of the National Business Council and the Central Bank, Simon Hall put forward a countrywide relief plan to mitigate the economic hardships that are being felt. You can either provide stimulus checks for people in need or bail out businesses under serious financial strain, or decide not to approve the plan. So here's my thinking, right? Now, granted, I am running low on budget. I probably shouldn't spend my budget too much more like willy-nilly, right? Not until we get to the next year at the very least, where presumably I get more. But I'm thinking, so yeah, bailing out businesses, not gonna work, I don't think. I don't think that's gonna happen. Especially knowing how corrupt certain things are in this country. But we provide stimulus checks for the people in need. That can stimulate an economy itself, and it keeps people happy, right? Like, I do think that can stimulate an economy. So I think we go with provide stimulus checks for people in need. I think we do that. Yes, it brings our budget down more, but I think in the end, it'll help us a little bit more. It sucks, though. I don't want my budget to decrease. Unemployment and checks. The administration has fallen for populism and the idea that giving people money will solve the problems of the economy overall. It is hard to grasp where these ideas come from, especially when the long-term job growth and employment is what this country needs to secure in order to have a stable economy. What is the plan here? People will be able to pay their rents for a few months, and then they will fall into the same unemployment trap due to lack of job availability or security. The businesses can't carry all the weight of the declining economy on their own shoulders and employ people without help from the government. The administration needs to reevaluate their way out of the recession with realistic methods. I think I know more about what I'm doing than you, The Economist. Okay, so I'm thinking we'll attend the funeral and then we'll probably leave that off for the day. Oh, what's this? Country overview. Economy. Economic Relief Act, yeah. Government passed a relief act to tackle the economic difficulties the country's going through. Stimulus checks distributed. Stimulus checks allowing them to pay for food and rent. The relief helped millions of people. And this also is probably going to help, like, people, maybe not riot and protest because they know we're on their side, so please don't ruin our country, Hey, Mario, welcome back to the stream. How you doing today, friendo? Funeral of Bernard Circus. The death of Bernard Circus has shocked the country, and his funeral will be held in Dare, among a large crowd of sympathizers. Circus is not only a communist poet, but also an elected MP that had a voice. The state funeral has been organized to honor him. The question is whether the president and the administration will attend the funeral or not. Doing okay just on I-4? Sounds very good. And of course we're going to attend the funeral. He may have been like a political opponent to us, but we got to attend the funeral of an MP. All right, let's go to the funeral. Like I said, this will probably be the last thing we do today, because I should go and make food relatively soon. Plus, I'm feeling kind of hungry, right? So we'll do this and we'll leave it off for today, and we'll do more tomorrow. Dark clouds were looming over Dare. They looked daunting as our convoy started approaching the century-old cemetery. It looked like it was going to rain. Certainly fitting weather for a funeral. As expected, Bernard Circus's passing maintained its media attraction, and all of Swordland was paying attention to the ceremony, especially to what I would say in my speech today. Sir, we have arrived. Raindrops were running down the car window when Serge opened the door and held an umbrella over my head. As soon as I got out, flashes from the cameras blinded me. It's okay, Serge. I will hold my own umbrella. As you wish, sir. He handed me the umbrella and started waiting next to the car with his own. Peter and Carl exited from their own cars in the convoy. They made their way over to me. Anton? Mr. President? I just wanted to inform you that the perimeter is clear and secured completely. There's no one getting in or out without our knowledge. Good work. Thank you, Carl. If something happens here, then we can assume maybe Carl is a baddie, right? Good work. Thank you, Carl. Carl bowed his head with respect. Good. If anything happens to Anton, you will have to answer to the First Lady. And trust me, Carl, you don't want that. Peter let out a laugh, which drew some attention from bereaved attendees. Oh man, see, I feel like if I do number 4, then the relationship between Peter and I kind of grow. So like my family's kind of weird at funerals, right? We tend to joke a lot when it comes to funeral stuff because you don't. Typically in my family, when someone dies, you don't want them to be sad, right? So usually at a funeral, you try to make it fun, right? You try to make the funeral fun. You don't try to make it all like dour and sad. You remember the person as they lived. And I know this is different, first off, but also to me, like this would be fairly normal, right? Someone making a joke and laughing at a funeral. To me, that's a relatively normal thing. I don't think I want to do 4 though, because then that might mean I start laughing, but... Nah, we'll do number 4, I think. could gesture to Peter to lower his voice. Yeah, I think we'll do that. I gestured at Peter to lower his voice a bit. You're right. Sorry. It started to rain. Several unintelligible voices were heard from Carl's radio. He stepped out to reply and returned shortly. We have a small problem, sir. A few, 5 to be exact. Red Youth members are here to attend the funeral. They apparently said they wish to pay their respects to their fallen comrade. Should we let them in? Do you think they pose a security threat? No, they were thoroughly searched. It looks like they really are here to attend the funeral. Let them in. As you command. Let's head over. They are about to start. We walked towards the crowd, circled around the grave. Everyone in attendance was wearing black in mourning. The rain started pouring heavily. Bernard's widow and daughter were in the front row, staring at the coffin with a mixture of disbelief, confusion, and above all, a cold, unforgiving sadness. Both of their eyes were very red and swollen from weeping. Before taking my place to observe the ceremony, I gave my condolences to Bernard's wife and his daughter, who looked at me. She reminded me of Deanna. When the religious ceremony was done, I was invited by the priest to deliver my speech. I took the podium. I felt like I had a lump in my throat. I couldn't get the daughter's eyes out of my head. Today we are mourning Bernard Circus, a father, a husband, and a loyal servant of this country. Towards the back of the crowd, I spotted the members of the Red Youth wearing red shirts and black bands of mourning on their arms. They seemed ruly and were respectfully bowing their heads. There was complete silence except for the sound of raindrops. I think number 2. I think number 2, because we want to be honest. We don't want to bullshit. I will confess that I disagreed with Bernard Circus almost entirely, but it doesn't mean that he deserved this. Our country can be a better place. Number 3 is badass, but I don't think that'd be very good, to be honest. I think maybe with 2, yeah. I think with 2, I can maybe at least get the Reds more on my side. Or at least more behind the idea of a unified Swordland. Circus had a dream of a unified Swordland. In these next months, we need to fulfill his dream and band together. Number 2 probably is really good too here, yeah. But hatred begets hatred. There's only one way to overcome this vicious cycle. We must unite against the evil of this world. I don't know if that would be it. Well, no, I think 2 does work, though, still. Because, yeah, it's hatred begets hatred, so don't hate the nationalists just because some of them fucked up. Yeah, but hatred begets hatred. There's only one way to overcome this vicious cycle. We must unite against the evil of this world. Not sure between 2 or 3. You meant for the earlier one? Was that, this one? Yeah, I agree. I agree. Between the 2, it was definitely much harder. But I think we went with a good one. For this one, I'm really leaning towards 2 or 1. Maybe. Oh. You agree there too? Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think this will help unite us, honestly. Oh, we could recite one of the poems. I think we do that. I think we do that. Because I feel like if we do, even though we disagreed with Bernard Circus, I, Anton Rain, do not see political ideology, because I want us to be united. I would now like to recite one of the poems he left us. Strength is will to survive, knowing it will perish, knowing nothing more absolute. We rise toward the sun. Those who died fighting. They're now buried in the sun. No need to mourn. There's a raid to the sun. They did not let us sing our songs. They are afraid of the dawn. They're afraid of hope, but our songs will be sung. I'm leaning towards 3. Or 1. Man, that whole song went through, damn. Kind of sad. That was really good to read like the rest of the stuff too. Okay, good. Let's start over again. Okay, nice. It loops. 1 or 3. 1 or 3. I'm thinking. Dawn, they are afraid of hope, but our song will be sung. See, I feel like they, and number 3, I feel like, see, I don't want to pick something that incites violence, right? I think number 1, our only strength is the will to survive, knowing that we will perish, knowing nothing more absolute. I think 1 is better than 3 in this case. I don't think 2 is good because 2 is kind of more like, let's fight the sun, which I don't want to do because the sun's kind of big, very powerful. One, I'm going with 1. I'm gonna go with my gut. Our only strength is the will to survive, knowing that we will perish, knowing nothing more absolute. A moment of silence, please. During the silence, all that was heard were the ravens. Ah, it's so cool. Some attendees started clapping, some crying. The coffin was lowered into the ground by the gravekeepers. After a couple of minutes, Bernard Circus was with the soil. No more. A Magna Westcor. So a Magna Westcor, if I remember, is a saying that unites swords. Let me think about this. I need to, this I actually kind of want to remember. A Magna Westcor. One of them, shit. Fuck, I wish I could remember. Would it be under, like, history? Might be under soulism. They mentioned what it was the last time we streamed this, and it's... I don't want to, like... Okay, whoops. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to bump the mic so aggressively. I'm just gonna Google a Magna Westcor and just make sure I remember exactly what it means. A Magna Westcor. Okay, so it's just a Swordland motto, I guess. Like I said, I'm actually, yeah, it's actually very easy to avoid spoilers, I guess. Morg, I just want to, like, make sure. Morgna. The motto of Swordland is a Morgna Westcore, followed by a hearty cry of Victern Sista, meaning morning will come, victory is close. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. As we bid farewell to Bernard, I want to close with the words every sword lives by. A Morgna Westcore. Everyone replied, Victern Sista, victory is close. With applauses, I stepped down from the podium. It was time to leave. The widow thanked me with a soft and defeated voice before we dispersed. On my way back to the car, I still couldn't get the eyes of Bernard's daughter, nor the faltering voice of his wife out of my head. Would Deanna, Monica, and Frank look the same way if something happened to me? Peter put his hand on my shoulder. That was a good speech. I sensed only respect from his voice. Thank you. I mean it. I know you do. Come on. It's time to go. We've got work to do. He was right. We had work to do. So much more to do. I realized that the rain had stopped, and I looked up. The black clouds slowly dispersed, and sunbeams enlightened our surroundings. As someone once said, even the darkest night will end, and the sun will arise. Hope was still on the horizon. Man, that's so cool! Why was literally the entirety of that so good? That was written so well. At least I thought so. I thought it was written really well. I could even feel myself kind of tearing up a little bit near the end. Oh, did it cut out? What? Wait, what cut out? Only at the end. Wait, what happened? Did the stream die for a moment? The stream, okay. No, everything seemed to still be doing well for me. So one thing I've noticed watching other Twitch streams, and probably happens to mine, but I don't know about it, right? Is like, even watching other people's streams, sometimes it'll like do the little circle thing in the center for like a moment, and I don't know why that is. I'm not too sure why that is. And then it stops, then usually you're good, right? If that's what happened to you, that happens to me too on other streams. Mildly annoying, I will admit. Hopefully it didn't affect things too much for you. In case you missed it though, basically, we just had a really, really sick speech. That just kind of ended with the light coming down and kind of signifying hope and stuff. Like, it's actually really, really cool. It was really nice. That whole sequence was so baller, dude. That whole sequence was so good. Well, okay, well, I guess we'll save that for next time. Holy shit. This game is so good. This game is so good. I'm telling you right now, I'm willing to bet a lot of people sleep on this one. Tons of people probably sleep on this game because like it's written so well. Like that whole scene in the funeral, that was amazing. That was so good. Like you could just envision everything so perfectly. And you know, if you go along with it, like you could see that like in some sort of movie, to be honest. You know? Like just how everything was written. I kind of wish I could go back and read a transcript of that, because that was like, whoops, because that was like actually really, really good. I haven't really heard of this. I've heard of Yes Your Grace, but this seems a lot better written. See, if you remember the Yes Your Grace stream that I did a long time ago, That one was really good. I really like that one a lot. I like that one a lot as well. I do agree with you that I think this is a little bit better written at the very least. Right? At the very least. If not a lot better written, certainly a little bit. Because it weirdly enough is making me feel like this is my country and that I have a lot of control over the lives of my people. And I want to make their lives better. Maybe I'm just really getting into the aspect. Maybe I'm kind of role playing it a little bit more than one normally would. But I really, really like it. And once again, that whole funeral scene itself should, if anything, that should be the tipping point where people go, yeah, this game's really well written. Especially, but it might come off a little bit better as well if you're not just like sitting here doing like this. Like as you read it, right? I will admit, I feel like reading it out loud, there is kind of that presence, because you can put more into the voice as you read it. And there's like this really good feeling to it as the music's playing, as the words are being like read aloud. And it's like, I don't know, I just get this feeling that like, man, this is really good. You know, like there's this feeling that's just like, damn, this game's solid. Like, I know you could refuse to go to the funeral, and that's more than good too if you want to like role play your Anton in a certain way, I guess. But for me, this is like just really, really solid. You know, like, I don't know, that like, and you could have been like I don't know, and things that could have ended in so many other different ways. You didn't need to do a speech. You could have walked down like after you said your initial things. You could have just ended it by saying, he was a great man, let's mourn him, right? But if you go along the path like, okay, yeah, I'm saying this, I'm saying this, I'm saying this, let's read one of his poems. Here's his poem. We'll say the Sworddish motto, which is like, you know, victory, blah, 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 mourning is close, whatever, victory is close. Yeah, the crowd goes along with you, and it's like, yeah, moment of silence, you know, all we hear are the ravens. That itself is such a good line. This is all so good. You know, like, I really can't, like you guys know yourself that it's good, right? I don't think I need to tell you guys that, hey, that's really well written dialogue. You know, like, that's really good. I like to say, it even made me tear up a little bit. I could feel it, you know? Bass Soccer says this really does deserve multiple playthroughs, probably on one's own time. I agree. I think playing through this game multiple times is good. Now, this is one thing I did decide on early, by the way. I don't think I mentioned this in the stream. But I am only going to play through this game once on stream or recording, but I highly encourage everybody else to also play this game. Because I feel like, to a degree, you should experience it yourself if you can, right? And considering how many endings this game seems to have and all the different directions you can take it, like, even if there are like only like 5 different endings or something, there are still a lot of directions you can take your game. It feels like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a lot of direction. So I think this is going to be my personal playthrough of Anton and Suzerain. And however it ends is just going to be how it ends, right? If I get the bad ending, I'm not going to be like, okay, guys, well, you know what? We're going to go for the good ending now, right? That would be fun, yeah. But I think I'm going to take my playthrough here as my canon playthrough of Suzerain. Because, although I probably will play through it again, I don't know, I almost feel like it kind of sells it to like do it multiple times on stream, where it's like, let's show every possible ending and outcome. But I highly encourage everybody watching to play this game yourself as well. You don't need to stop watching me to do it, because you can do your own thing regardless. If you did want to stop, I wouldn't say no, you gotta watch me, right? But yeah, like, definitely go ahead and play the game yourself if you can, right? Yeah. Like I know what you meant, Bass Edwards. Don't worry. I got what you meant. I was just kind of talking out loud, right? I was just saying, on one's own time, because on stream it would be kind of weird. Yeah. No, I was mostly just kind of talking out loud. I do appreciate you extra clarifying, though. For sure. All right, though. Yeah, I guess that'll be it for the moment. Man, that was so intense, though. Man, that was so intense. Okay, well, let's go ahead and find someone who we can raid, because I didn't do it last time. So let's find someone we can raid this time. A good few people are out and about. You know what? Let's go ahead and throw it to Froggy Bunny, who I haven't raided since the end of Ghost Trick, because Froggy Bunny is playing Professor Layton and the Curious Village, and I think that'll be really, really fun. I probably won't watch too much because I do got to go and cook, but I think that sounds really fun. Yeah, no, Suzerain's a really good game, though. Everybody, all of you should play it yourselves if you can. It's not even that expensive on Steam, I don't think. It's like, you know what? Let's actually see. How much is Suzerain? Suzerain is like, yeah, in Canadian, it's $17.49. That's like not much at all. And I'm probably going to buy the soundtrack. I'll be honest with you. I think I will buy the soundtrack because the soundtrack really won me over. Oh, all right. So we'll continue with more Suzerain probably tomorrow, because I think Megan's working tomorrow as well. Which means no Ratchet, but it does mean more Suzerain, and I am very eager to get back to this. So we're going to go ahead and send it to Froggy Bunny. And of course, you can send a nice frag raid. I fucked that up. Frag raid. I fucked that up again. Frag raid. There you go. All right, so feel free to send them a nice frag raid. You can add a frags out if you so desire. But for me, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Play this game yourself if you can, because it's really, really good. Really, really good. All right. Anyway, now it's time to cue the outro. All right. Break out. I'll catch you guys later.